Team USA realistically have the best chance to take down South Korea in the Overwatch World Cup, so every single roster decision they make matters to try and gain the edge in any way they can. This is what I think the roster should be to give them their best shot. For hitscan, I'm going with Hydron. I was in the Aspire camp originally, but after more consideration and watching the trials, I have to go with Hydron. I think both of their hitscans are very close in skill, with Aspire being a bit better on the long-range hitscan, while Hydron has a better Sombra and Tracer. On top of that, Hydron benefits from Toronto core synergy, and the final piece is that Hydron only got better as last season went on, and I think he'll develop even more on the Defiant. For the flex DPS, I am going with Sugar Free. Realistically, the only other option here is Speedily, and both of them played very well in trials, so this is a tougher choice than I thought it would be to make, but I think Sugar Free's Tracer is considerably better, and that's why I need to go with him. Also, Sugar Free is nowhere near his final form yet, having only been back a few months since his 2-year hiatus from organized play. For him to be as good or better than Speedily right now is wild. For tanks, I'm going with Kaluge and Super, with Kaluge being the obvious pick for the first tank because he proved himself to be one of the best and most flexible tanks last year. His Sigma, Junker Queen, and Diva are all elite and can go toe-to-toe with Korea. I'm a bit concerned that his main tank hero pool isn't deep enough to solo tank for Team USA though, so adding Super for bonus firepower makes a lot of sense to me. I thought Super would still be able to hang with the pros, but he outperformed my expectations in these trials. He's very clearly the main tank option to go with, and I have no doubt that his Rhine will be world class. I also think Super has a bit better Winston right now, but Kaluge's could be better by the time World Cup comes around, depending on how much he plays it in Overwatch League Season 6. Neither of these guys really play Wrecking Ball, but at least Super does not feel an intense, unbearable pain when he locks it in like Kaluge does. This tank line might not match up in some tank mirrors, but I think it gives him the best chance and the most tools to win in whatever the meta turns out to be when the time comes. For flex supports, I'm going with Ultraviolet and RuPaul. Ultraviolet is great mechanically, and his aggression may be a bit much at times, but the upside is massive. And RuPaul has majorly impressed me compared to last year. His BAP has always been insane, but now also his Kiriko is one of the best around. RuPaul is a really smart player with good mechanics, and he is honestly a more well-rounded player than Ultraviolet. Originally, before these trials and the Pro-Am, I had Landon here, but RuPaul overtook his spot, probably largely due to how good his Kiriko has gotten. The playtime split would be UV on the Zen and Ana, while RuPaul takes over the Baptiste and Kiriko, and Moira is a fake hero, so don't worry about that. For main support, I am going with OG, and the battle between OG and Lep was actually a lot closer than I anticipated. The biggest thing for OG is the Toronto core synergy, and I'm usually against selecting players off of synergy, but when it comes to main support and the difference isn't big at all, I will choose to fall into the trap and go with the synergistic choice. Lep performed very well in the trials. He was better on flex support heroes and arguably even some main supports as well. But the extra value you get from Toronto players, and UV specifically, when you select OG outweighs Lep's value. So overall, I'd go with Hydron, Sugar Free, Kaluge, Super, Ultraviolet, RuPaul, and OG. This is just my opinion, and there are a lot of different options you can go with to achieve similar results, like Kaluge on solo tank, Aspire vs Hydron, or whatever else you want. I, however, think this is the best roster the USA can go with to give them the best chance to take down South Korea and win the World Cup. But let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious to see what people think the best US roster is. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.